Alrighty, week 8. Yay! And it's beautiful. It's just beautiful outside. It's almost hard to be in here, but I'm actually getting ready to head out for the weekend, so I'm excited about that. So I graded your week 7 Learn Together, and I have to tell you, I really was delighted to see the different ways you implemented what I was requesting. So it was, and what was wonderful about that, and you're going to hear me say this next week, is like, I want you to attempt this stuff without looking at my code examples because I'm going to do it one way. I hope I do it a good way, but getting it done is the important part. And it's just so fun to watch the different types of creativity people have about when they approach these kind of problems. So that was fun for me and really delightful to see that. So thank you for this. It was just so fun. Many people, and I would not have thought of this, just disabled or got rid of the button. Like, because the idea is I wanted you to click the button and output some, because again, we're just now at this point, we're moving into week 8, completing our first section of learning how to do JavaScript on the browser, in the browser, not on. You could call it on, but so it's a perfect time to dip our toe. Now, guess what? In week 8, I'm going to have you do it more though. So week 8, I actually did spend a little time thinking about something fun. And this is not related to your topic. You're going to come up with something. And again, I want you to challenge yourself because man, if you came up with different ways this week to do what I asked in week 7, I will be so interested to see how you do it for week 8, right? So just a little, oh, by the way I did that, if you didn't take a look at the code, was that when I called my display on page, right? Before I called it, actually, what I did is I cleared the output area by just document get element by ID and then called inner text. You could have also done inner HTML. But and by the way, you're going to start seeing me not actually putting these document get element by up in the top of the page, something you're going to see me doing, because the thing is you should only really do this once because this is kind of an expensive browser thing. It takes a lot of resources, and because I already do it here, I really should just pull it out into the global space, do it once, and then just give it a variable name that I referenced. And I don't know, I think he does do that later, but I'm going to start doing it now. So you'll see that. But I wanted to show you, right? That's how I handled it. Is the idea that you can click, first time you load the page, of course, you don't see it. The other thing, now that I've seen this, I probably would have done differently, was actually put the button above it so it doesn't move the location of the button, something I didn't think about until I started looking at my example. So there's just, and then we start thinking about UI UX stuff and what that means, right? So one thing I want to tell you, I spent some time drafting our Dev 1 requirements because I looked at it. And by the way, this happens right before, and I say draft, and you can see that I drafted it this week. So I'm going to give this some thought, but I want you to review this because I understand reading these requirements. It's like, I need your program to have these things, like at least 2 types of input, in the browser, store information with associated dates, UUID, and local storage. Well, we haven't covered that yet, right? So you'll learn about that, but give the user the ability to edit their input, whatever they've given you or something related, process the data and present it back to the user, right? And we learn how to do all this in the coming sections. Implement at least 2. Now this one doesn't. Implement at least 2 examples of JavaScript code that has not been covered in this course. So something new, right? Venture out of at least what you're learning. Still stay with pure JavaScript, right? But 2 new things I want you to implement that we haven't covered. So I'm just asking you to stretch some. Use arrow functions unless you can make a case for not using them. For now, it should be not. And handle handle app and input errors. Okay. stuff we'll cover has meaningful output and follows the style guide and uses, and this is the key. I know this is not a CSS class, but you got to do some CSS this week because the thing is you want it to look good to the user. So having some CS, we expect you to have some by now. So if you don't, you got to get some on board pretty quickly, right? If you do change your topic from what you covered in Dev 1 as far as your larger concept you were doing, then make sure you talk with me about that. From last week's review, it looked like most of you were staying with the same topic. So just know that if you do change it, you need to chat with me about that. Okay, the only other thing I wanted to say, and I want to give a shout out to Fred. He showed me that in week 7 I made an error in my instruction, but you all are so used to me actually only having you put it in the public repo, and what I'm talking about is the work for the learn together. I actually said private by accident. Crazy me. So that was my mistake. But what's so funny is most of you did it in the public repo because you're used to that, which is good. And the other thing I didn't do, and by the way, it's back next week, so keep a heads up, is that you do need to do replies. For next week's Learn Together, I actually break down the work because there's going to be getting my base functionality done and then adding some new stuff to it. So anyway, I hope you enjoy that. There's International Women's Day is coming up next Saturday. Our local event down at Bitwise Women Tech Makers. I gave you all a code for getting discount student tickets. So if you have any questions about that, and I think I said, but if I didn't for sure, I am giving a intro to React talk. So if you want to know more about that, if you just want to come down to Bitwise and check that out, that's cool too. Everyone is welcome. I look forward to seeing a couple of you down there. Have a great, wonderful, beautiful weekend and code on, my friends. The reply to this, what I want. What do I want? Right? Did you hear me? Did you get that? I don't have anything. Just so you can say that you checked in for this week. I often think I should make these in more points so students, most of you do, but not everyone does. Should I make this more points in the overall class? What's your thoughts on that? Have a great weekend. Peace out.